Welcome back to AI Watch, your trusted source for breaking down the most significant developments in artificial intelligence. I'm your host, and we're diving deep into a story that could fundamentally reshape how the internet works in the age of AI. Cloudflare, the cloud infrastructure giant that serves 20% of the web, just launched something revolutionary called pay-per-crawl, a marketplace that lets website owners charge AI companies for scraping their content. This isn't just another tech announcement. This is potentially the opening shot in a war for the soul of the internet itself. Let's start with the basics. For years, the internet has operated on what we might call the Google bargain. Websites let Google's crawlers scrape their content for free, and in return, Google sends them traffic through search results. It was symbiotic. Everyone benefited. But AI has shattered that equilibrium in ways most people don't even realize yet. According to Cloudflare's data, Google's crawler scrapes websites 14 times for every referral it provides back to those sites. That already sounds like a raw deal, but here's where it gets truly shocking. OpenAI's crawler scrapes websites 17,000 times for every single referral it gives back. Anthropic? 73,000 scrapes per referral. Think about what that means. These AI companies are essentially strip mining the internet's content at an unprecedented scale while giving virtually nothing back to the creators. It's digital colonialism, and until now, publishers have had almost no recourse except to block AI crawlers entirely, which means missing out on whatever limited benefits AI platforms might offer. Cloudflare's marketplace changes this dynamic entirely. Under their pay-per-crawl system, website owners can set individual prices for different AI companies to access their content. Want to scrape my news article for your training data? That'll be a few cents. Need to access my research for an AI agent query? Different price. The granular control is unprecedented. But here's what makes this truly fascinating from a strategic standpoint. Cloudflare isn't just creating a marketplace, they're positioning themselves as the internet's new gatekeeper. By making new Cloudflare domains block AI crawlers by default, they're forcing a permission-based system where AI companies have to negotiate access rather than simply taking what they want. Major publishers including Condé Nast, Time, the Associated Press, The Atlantic, Adweek, and Fortune have already signed on to support this permission-based approach. That's not a coincidence. These are companies watching their traditional business models crumble as AI threatens to make their websites obsolete. The timing couldn't be more critical. We're on the verge of what many are calling the agentic web, where AI agents will browse the internet on our behalf, collecting information and delivering synthesized answers without users ever visiting the original sources. Imagine asking an AI to research the best restaurants in your city or synthesize the latest cancer research, and that AI simply scrapes dozens of websites, processes the information, and gives you the answer. The original content creators get nothing. This is already happening. OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and other AI systems are increasingly being used as search replacements. Users get their answers without clicking through to websites, which means no ad revenue for publishers, no subscription conversions, no relationship building between creators and audiences. Cloudflare's marketplace offers a potential solution, but it's not without risks. First, there's the collective action problem. For this to work, a critical mass of publishers needs to participate. If only some sites charge for access while others remain free, AI companies might simply avoid the paid content altogether. Second, there's the pricing challenge. Set prices too high, and AI companies will find workarounds or simply exclude your content from their training and responses. Set them too low, and you're not meaningfully compensated for your work. Finding that sweet spot will require sophisticated market dynamics that don't exist yet. Third, there's the technical arms race. AI companies have already shown they're willing to circumvent robots.txt files and other blocking mechanisms. As the stakes rise, we can expect increasingly sophisticated evasion tactics, which means this marketplace only works if it's backed by real enforcement mechanisms. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of this development is what it reveals about the broader power dynamics of the AI era. For the past year, AI companies have operated under an assumption of digital manifest destiny, believing they have the right to scrape and use whatever content exists on the open web. This marketplace represents one of the first serious challenges to that assumption. The legal landscape supports this challenge. While fair use protections exist, the scale and commercial nature of AI training pushes well beyond traditional fair use boundaries. Some publishers like the New York Times have already filed lawsuits against tech companies for using their content without permission, while others have struck licensing deals for their content to appear in AI responses. What makes Cloudflare's approach particularly clever is that it sidesteps the legal uncertainty by creating a market-based solution. Instead of waiting for courts to decide what's legal, they're giving publishers the tools to extract value from AI companies directly. The implications extend far beyond publishing. Academic institutions, research organizations, government databases, and specialized knowledge repositories all face the same challenge. Their carefully curated content is being harvested to train AI models that may ultimately compete with them. This marketplace model could extend to all of these sectors. There's also a geopolitical dimension worth considering. Much of the world's AI development is concentrated in a handful of companies, primarily in the United States and China. By creating mechanisms for content creators worldwide to extract value from these AI giants, platforms like Cloudflare's could help redistribute some of the economic benefits of AI development. However, we shouldn't underestimate the resistance this will face. AI companies have built their business models on free access to web content. OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, and others have raised hundreds of billions of dollars based partly on the assumption that training data would remain essentially free. Any system that threatens that assumption will face significant pushback. We're already seeing some of this resistance. Some AI companies have been caught scraping content in ways that violate robots.txt protocols. Others have used intermediary services to obscure their scraping activities. As the financial stakes rise, we can expect these tactics to become more sophisticated. The success of Cloudflare's marketplace will ultimately depend on whether it can create sufficient network effects. Publishers need to believe that participating will generate meaningful revenue. AI companies need to believe that the content they're paying for is actually valuable and exclusive. And users need to continue finding AI-generated responses useful enough to justify the underlying costs. One fascinating aspect of this development is how it might change content creation itself. If publishers can generate revenue directly from AI scraping, we might see the emergence of content specifically designed to be valuable to AI training or agent queries. This could lead to new forms of journalism, research, and analysis optimized not just for human readers but for AI consumption. Looking ahead, this marketplace represents just the beginning of a much larger transformation. We're moving toward a world where every piece of digital content has a price, where access to information becomes increasingly transactional, and where the open web as we've known it for decades fundamentally changes. The questions this raises are profound. What happens to smaller publishers who don't have the leverage to demand fair prices? How do we ensure that important information remains accessible to researchers and journalists who can't afford to pay? Will this create a two-tiered internet where AI companies only train on content from publishers wealthy enough to command high prices? These aren't just business questions, they're questions about the future of human knowledge and information access. The decisions made in the next few years about how AI systems access and use web content will shape the internet for decades to come. Cloudflare's pay-per-crawl marketplace is a bold attempt to create a more equitable system, but its ultimate success will depend on factors far beyond any single company's control. It will require cooperation between publishers, fair pricing from AI companies, effective enforcement mechanisms, and probably new regulatory frameworks to ensure it serves the broader public interest. What's certain is that the age of free AI training data is coming to an end. The only question is what system will replace it, and whether that system will serve creators, consumers, and society as a whole. Cloudflare has just proposed one answer. The response from AI companies, publishers, and regulators will determine whether this experiment succeeds or becomes just another footnote in the ongoing battle for control of the digital economy. That's our deep dive for this edition of AI Watch. The implications of this story will unfold over months and years, and we'll be here to break it all down for you. Keep watching, keep questioning, and keep thinking critically about how AI is reshaping our world.